Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reacts where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Christian Stutzig titled Shattered, and if we switch over to here, hopefully I did not butcher that pronunciation, especially considering I reviewed quite a bit of Christian's music before. It'll be good to check out more. We're going to listen through this track from start till finish and we're going to hear what we think. A gentle heads up as well that we will be giving this song an overall score out of 10 based on various musical criteria at the end, but for now, let's go, let's do it. Interesting use of the tremolo bar there.
So I'm heavy. Someone took away the one meant for me.
I assume we've gotten a guest vocalist.
I loved above all else, and all because of money. Cold and free. I don't earn cash no matter what I try. A heavy burden I carry. A sickness born from pain and fear, a violent past that never clears, a father who hurt me every day, shook my world and stole my way, left me broken, lost my fight, no strength to drive, no friends inside. How can I act when I'm so weak, sick and tired, too scared to speak? Been cruel, locked me away, though I did nothing wrong to pay. Sister's gone, she shut the door while darkness visits more and more. I wonder if my soul's for sale in a world where justice fails.
That's an interesting line. I wonder if my soul's for sale in a world where justice failed. It's
They say the good get locked inside, while evil walks with endless pride. I was hurt by love I never chose, and lost the one I vowed to hold. She married someone else instead, while I'm left with this aching dread. How can I find a way to be the happy soul I long to see?
dynamic range of that.
Shadows searching light, fighting through the endless night. Though the world feels cold and gray, I'll keep chasing hope someday.
That was a satisfying way to finish it with that piano arpeggio going upwards, the ascending one. We're going to talk about this track more in the conclusion. And so welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Christian Stutzig titled Shattered. Now, before we go into it, I gave this track an overall score of 7.2 out of 10. There was a lot that I appreciated here. A lot of it was really, really good. We'll talk about it more in a second because there's also features like a full song analysis, but before we go any further, what do we think this track is about? I think this is about Christian going through a really difficult time, if this is their perspective on it, I know a woman was singing, their difficult time, I assume, with their life, like maybe with their parental figures, like their father hurting them and stuff like that. And I think what they were doing is kind of looking over their life and realizing that the person they loved who's married another, that's just another scenario or situation where they feel like their happiness has been taken away from them. And it's a tricky thing to listen to, because you do sympathize, you feel bad for them. And I feel like the way that it was sung by the vocalist with the vibrato and the dynamic range and everything like that was good. You could have potentially had some more sort of like vocal like cracks or like more kind of further angst or expression to it. It seemed very kind of like measured between two different intensities, but I do like the vibratos that we had across the board there. There was some interesting legato passages. I think that there was enough variety within the vocal performance itself to sell the words, and I think in general the way we phrased the lines and stanzas crisscrossing across different bars was good. I think that vocally it did enough to sort of tell us the story clearly in a way where we could understand it, feel as the sense of sadness or loss that they're going through in a way which is constructive. I think the music, especially with those keys, did a lot of the heavy lifting there, but I feel like the story was told well. It was told well. I think that structurally, if we go past the vocals and the affectation of how they sort of represented the lyrics, the structure of the song with that intro with the sort of guitars there, the strings and the piano, that was a cool way to begin it. It had a balladesque kind of feel to it, and having the vocalist come in for their sort of thematic development there lyrically was great. I can follow along and understand why the song is the way it is. We had different verse and chorus sections there, which were sort of like intersected neatly. And as we went through the track, we introduced other elements like those drums there with the kick, snares, and cymbal patterns, with like some sort of rim shots as well for a bit less sort of like intensity on those snare hits. And there's a really full-bodied bass that you can hear in certain elements there, which represents the low end really neatly. I think the keys were nice and decorative with the different arpeggios and sort of melodies they played on the right hand, with the left sort of being more sort of focused on playing the chords of triads, or like being kind of counter rhythmically dun 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 kind of. I know it's flipped on this, but you know what I mean. So yeah, like the keys were a really effective accompaniment. Dynamically, texturally, they suited what was going on vocally. Neither was too loud for what was going on. It was meant to show a sense of vulnerability or sort of, I suppose, fragility with the situation they're in after being shattered. So that makes sense. And I think the minor orient to the key signature was really effective as well. It was laid on fairly heavily without being too aggressive or angsty about it. I will go back to that guitar lead. I think we could have potentially had more guitar in this piece. It would have been nice to have maybe had like a full guitar solo a bit later on to kind of further kind of harken back maybe to how we still feel stuck in the hole that we're in. Maybe the guitar solo is ascending, trying to reach out for that hope, you know? I'm just having a look for more guitar in that like later section there, and it just seems more sort of vocal, bass, drum, and key oriented there. And again, it's cool if we want to introduce something and have it go, hey, this is a big song, this is the strings, this is everything, like it's going to be huge, but I think we need to build back up to that near the end for a satisfying conclusion. So you could have potentially had an alternate like guitar solo or lead part there, or even the strings could have come up and provided a different maybe perspective, or like a different kind of like harmony or something like that later on. Maybe we learned a different thing, but it also depends on how the lyrics are handled and structured. So maybe the consistency with the instrumental layers is made to insinuate that we haven't had a lot of movement despite how much we want to get out of that mire that we're in. I think that when the strings build though, in some of the verse sections, they sound huge, and I like the fact that they're reinforcing those chord triads and not trying to overcomplicate the harmony. It might be a little bit phoned in maybe to have two kind of literal cliche-ish kind of strings there, but like you get a few kind of like extensions where they're accidentally on purpose on the key parts, or sort of on the vocal parts, or both actually. So I think that there's a like then they're trying to let you know that they're struggling through it. You're meant to focus on the vocals to get the full gist of it. And there's like adjustments and sort of intricacies of the drum fill patterns and stuff like that as you go through the piece. There's stuff to appreciate there, but it's very vocal oriented. And I think that if you can sing well, it works. So I think thankfully it's a competent vocal performance. But I think in general, the notes are where they need to be. Structurally, it has a build over time, albeit a very sort of like safe, conservative kind of build, and I don't think there's a note out of place. Again, it's just having maybe other lead layers or like a twist in the tail to kind of show. Well, it depends on whether we're sort of stuck or not, and it sounds like we're stuck, which is, you know, clearly that's completely valid from an creative's perspective. I just wish Christian all the best with what they're going through, because it's never a fun time. I mean, again, that's a massive understatement. With a lot of the stuff that we spoke about in this, if it's happened to them personally, they've gone through some horrific stuff, and I'm really sorry that they've had to go through that. Studio production, though, the recording, mixing, mastering, things are pretty well leveled in the mix. Things surrounded you in headphones. There was nothing in here production or studio-wise which was trying to sort of maybe be a little bit quote-unquote extra. It's, again, a very sort of safe composition where you have things pop out when they need to, such as the vocals or the guitar leads at the start, or the strings on the sides. They're kind of buffering and providing a sort of a faux dynamic range. Things weren't the same loudness all the time, although there was glowing compression. It was nice and loud without pumping, so the bus compression limiting was handled. Ultimately, I think it's good to hear more of Christian's music, even though they're going through a rough time. I wish them all the best of luck in future, and thank you very much for watching my review of this track from an actor named Christian Stutzig titled Shattered, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go check him out via their various social medias, their YouTube and their Bandcamp, and stay cool and stay safe. Please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SP Reacts, I suppose. Spiderhands out.